during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now he's asking Putin for dirt on President Biden's son, Hunter.
One thing while I'm on your show, as long as Putin now is not exactly a fan of our country, let him explain because Chris Wallace wouldn't let me ask the question. Why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give the Bidens, both of them, $3.5 million for them? That's a lot of money. She gave him $3.5 million. So now I would think Putin would know the answer to that. I think he should release it. I think we should know that answer. Now, you won't get the answer from Ukraine, but why are they giving somebody who knows nothing about energy $187,000 a month plus a $3 million upfront payment? And I won't even talk about China because they haven't gone into Taiwan yet.
Right.
That'll be next. But why did the mayor of Moscow's wife give the Biden family $3.5 million? And nobody wants to ask the question. And Chris Wallace, who's a total lightweight, unlike his father, who interviewed me for 60 Minutes, who was actually a good piece. Mike Wallace was great. He wants to be Mike Wallace, but he doesn't have the talent. But why is it that the mayor of Moscow's wife gave the Biden family $3.5 million? I think Putin now would be willing to probably give that answer. I'm sure he knows.
A fact check. The payments the former president is referring to come from a highly criticized Republican-led Senate report released just weeks before the 2020 election. It maintained that Elena Baturina, the widow of Moscow's former mayor, wired $3.5 million to a firm that was associated with Hunter Biden. The report did not show that Hunter Biden received any of that money. In addition, Hunter Biden's legal team has long claimed that he had no interest in the firm and was not paid any of the money in question. As to Trump's claims that Putin knows something about the payments, the Russian president has previously said he was unaware of any business ties between Hunter Biden and Baturina. One thing Trump failed to mention, according to reports, Trump himself was seeking out business with the former mayor of Moscow back in the late 1990s. He had pageants, he had a pageant there, was very involved with Russia. But at this point, Ambassador Bill Taylor, since you were there during this first debacle where the president wanted to get dirt on the political rival from President Zelensky, your thoughts on what you just heard from the former president of the United States?
Well, Mika, we know that in the summer of 2019, there was discussion of additional weapons for Ukraine. We know that the United States had been providing these Javelin missiles. The Trump administration, to its credit, had been providing these Javelin missiles that were very effective, as we know, as we're now seeing how effective these Javelins are. And there was interest on the Ukrainians. I was there at the time. Were very interested in additional weapons, additional Javelins. And there was a phone call where they had this conversation with President Trump. President Zelensky asked for support for this sale, for additional. And as we know, President Trump asked for a favor on this same topic of investigations into his political rival. In the end, those weapons went. Thank goodness they were held up for a period of time, which was troubling for the Ukrainians. But in the end, these weapons went, and they, as we see, are now putting to great use against the Russians.
So, Jonathan Lemire, Mika just said it. Vladimir Putin has already addressed this unsubstantiated claim about this payment. He did it in October 2020 on the eve of the presidential election. In fact, if you look at the interview, he effectively rolled his eyes and was annoyed that he was being asked about this. He waved it away. And now it's worth stopping and taking stock in the middle of what we're watching in Russia. Not only did Donald Trump watch the horrors of what we're seeing in Ukraine and say, quote, this is genius, and say this is wonderful, but now he's taking the side of Vladimir Putin and saying, let's exploit the way Vladimir Putin feels about the United States right now and get him to give me this invented dirt that came out of a report authored by Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. We're not shocked anymore by Donald Trump, but the things he said during this war, I think, rise to that level.
Yeah, it is hard to be shocked by him, but this is so galling. It's just so galling. Not only are there echoes of that 2016 moment where he openly asked Russia for help, and we know, thanks to the Mueller report, it was that night that the GRU started accessing some of those hacked WikiLeaks, the Clinton emails, that seemed like they were responding to what Trump asked. Echoes, of course, as Ambassador Taylor just said, of 2.5 years ago, and his efforts to get dirt on the Bidens by extortion of Ukrainian President Zelensky, and to now do so during a war where Vladimir Putin is committing war crimes. The United States has deemed that Putin and the Russian soldiers have committed war crimes, and yet Trump is asking him for help. It is truly staggering. And